Cleopatra, hey, we know the way to move, so we're gonna.
Look how it started.
Oh, power to the people. We back to do maintenance. Yeah, we gonna rock like crack when it came in. Welcome in to track 12 of the Two Stubborn Nigerians Podcast. That was, of course, the amazing, phenomenal group known as Cleopatra with the song Cleopatra's Theme from 1998. 1998. Man, we take it back. Taking it back. I am, of course, one half of your host. It's me. It's Kekz P. And I'm joined by, you know who he is.
Man.
He's the guy who gave you the look.
Yep.
The verse.
Yep.
And then out of the kindness and graciousness of his heart, he gave you the hook.
Because I decided to that day, man.
And that's why every pod sounds like Kekz featuring Kekz.
Man, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hey, Paul, guess what?
Sir.
Guess what?
Well on.
We came back again.
We back again.
12 times in a row.
12 times in a row.
We haven't missed one.
We're not leaving. Like, we here.
Get used to it.
I'm not fucking leaving.
What are you saying, man? How are you today?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. The week's been, bro, the weather is terrible. It's England. It's grey.
It's nasty.
But we here to bring the positive vibes. We here to bring the energy. I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of people try to drain me of my energy,
trying to take away from a nigga.
Fucking with the kid. Yeah, Boris, that's to you. I know you're trying to take my energy, but I'm here. Like, what you gonna do, nigga? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
As you said, it's been awfully great.
Great.
But me and my spirit,
yes, sir,
will never be great.
That's facts.
The UK will never beat me.
Facts.
Will never kill me.
Facts.
Me, I'm just gonna keep on rising.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because I'm part of the Two Stubborn Nigerian Podcast.
That's facts. Shout out to all our audience in sunnier climates. Australia.
Oh, man.
I know you out there. That's really about it. Everyone else in winter too. I had to go crazy. I was like, that Australia, Singapore, maybe. I don't know.
I know Canada's strong.
Hey, Minnesota is in. They're in fits right now.
Disarray.
They don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
But we here. Track 12.
Man.
Track 12. It gets even more overwhelming by the episode, man.
Honestly.
You'd think we get used to it, but absolutely not. Absolutely not. Whew. We got a big episode planned.
It's a special one this week, man.
It's a special one. Why is it special? What? Tell the people at home and myself, because I don't even know. What do we have planned for track 12 of the Two Stubborn Nigerians Podcast?
Man, today we decided this is the episode where we're giving you our takes pertaining to music as they come, right? Yeah. But I think it's time for people to know our takes that we've been holding back because we know the majority of people aren't going to agree with them. Some people refer to those takes as hot takes.
Hot takes.
We're going to refer to this episode as hot ones.
This is the hot ones.
I don't know if you guys are doing the science at home.
They're really not.
The hot ones, they're artistry.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. The way we be connecting these dots.
Bro, I promise you, people were sleeping on that promo that we did.
No, for real.
For the Lauryn Hill one.
No, for real. They didn't catch it. They did not catch anything in there. Like,
we're doing science 24/7. So
bro, these niggas are playing checkers. We're playing Connect 4.
Come on, man.
Do you get it? It's connect the dots. They don't.
Yeah, look, we're already in our podcast.
I'm playing chess in 4D. Like, get with me.
Oh my days! So this episode we're gonna be obviously sharing some of our opinions that majority of people don't agree with and why we think the way we do. And then we're also gonna be giving our predictions for what we think is gonna happen in the upcoming season of music, 2021.
That 2021 season's looking hefty. Man. The amount of trades that we've already seen.
Oof.
Look at the way people are moving in free agency.
Some super teams are forming, man.
Bro.
Let me tell you that for free.
That's for facts. That is for facts. Because there's a guy down in Houston.
Man. People demanding trade.
Fam.
James Harden, stop throwing your tantrum. It's enough.
Fam, you
it's
enough.
Let me stop. Stop. Please don't have that MVP.
Let me stop. On our basketball podcast, let me stop. Don Toliver, what's good? Yeah. Hot ones. Hot ones. But before we get there, we got to talk about some real life stuff, if we shall.
Yep.
We got to talk about what's been going on in India. For those of you who may have seen on social media, and for those of you who haven't, you know that there's a lot been going on in India recently. Over the past week or so, maybe more, farmers all across the country of India have been marching into Delhi to protest 3 new agricultural bills installed by the Indian government. These bills are important as they suggest that farmers will earn considerably less, which would thus greatly impact their quality of life and the farming sector within India as a whole, which is so influential not only to the culture and the resources of the country, but really to what they provide to the entire world. This is very important. I think we should all take note. The farmers' protests are not exclusive to one group of people within India. The changes to their work affect the livelihoods of so many people, like not just their families, but really just it has a huge chain reaction across the nation, and really across the world. We all enjoy so many luxuries due to the work of those farmers in India. So many of our luxuries, so many of the things that we enjoy in our day-to-day lives and take for granted come from that nation and come from that subsect of people. And so it is extremely important that their voices are heard and that these protests are respected. We're seeing, as is the story of 2020, unfortunately, peaceful protests which are being met by violent resistance. It's a continued disgusting cycle which needs to be addressed at all levels. In the way that we were awakened with the protests in the United States during the summer, we also need to be awakened to these protests and ensure that we don't allow the suffering of peaceful protesters go by the wayside. The right to peacefully protest is an internationally guaranteed right under international human rights law and is one that must be respected. Any government, body or entity which tries to curtail that needs to be addressed and held accountable for those actions. And that is not an exclusive accountability to the United States. That goes to the government of India too. This cannot be allowed to continue. And so to the people of India, to the farmers in India, we as a podcast stand with you. We use our platform to share your plight and hope that in any way that we can continue to raise awareness, we will do so. Yeah.
I just think it's a shame, man. Like, the fact that at this point now, how many protests have we seen? And I can't think of any, except for one protest that wasn't met with brutality.
Straight brutality.
And then that one protest that wasn't met with police brutality, what was it?
Yeah.
People fighting not to wear masks.
Facts.
But the ones that actually affected people.
Yeah. The world's in a crazy place, and you know we can only keep working to push for it to be in a better place, and that's what we must continue to do, and that's what I'm glad to see that people are continuing to do. If the smallest amount you can do is sign your petition, or send your message or donate, please do so, because you don't understand how far those things do actually go. They may seem small and insignificant, but in the grand scheme of things, they help, and they help a great deal. And yeah, like we say, we just pray for the people of India, the farmers. We stand with you, and yeah, you have our support wholeheartedly. But we do have a music podcast to get to. We have a podcast, and we're calling it Hot Ones. So, you know, Kekz.
Yes, sir.
It's about to get hot in here. Is it hot because were you working out?
Yeah, fam.
It must be.
It has to be at this point.
Is the heater on? The thermostat? Yo.
Just turn go outside, get some fresh air.
Mi madre has been putting the thermostat on 35 recently.
Sorry, bro.
Bruv.
It's one that you just have to power through it.
Nah, because at this point, I was like, bro, I'll pay the bill. Like, if that's what you're on. Like, if you're saying, oh, because you pay the bill, like, cool. Send me the check. Like, we're not doing this, cuz.
Yo, 35 in your own house.
In my own house. Like, say I'm in the Sahara. Am I skunked?
Every day is sauna.
Bruh. Every day. And like, what?
I can't lie though. That sounds a bit like a dream. Because me, you know how I get cold easy.
Fam.
Easy. I would happily, actually, 35.
35 is disgusting.
It's a lot.
It's disgusting. 35 at 11 p.m. when I'm trying to sleep. Just
that's a bit nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. Sleep is nuts.
It's nuts. But anyway, we're here. Track 12, Hot Ones. Hot Takes episode. So we want to go crazy with it. I want it to be outlandish.
Alright.
I'm going to go in.
We'll try, man.
But, you know, before we do that, we have started this thing. This comes sort of a tradition. You know, people wait for it, they want it, they clamour for it each and every week.
If there's one reason they open this podcast every week,
it's for this segment right here.
Man.
So some of you know Kekz. And some of you know Paul.
Yes, sir.
But some of you don't know Kekz.
Man.
And some of you don't know Paul.
What a shame.
Some of you know us both.
Man.
And some of you know neither of us.
What?
Like our people out in Australia.
That's a bit nuts.
Or Singapore.
Wow.
Or Turkey.
Wow.
Or
Canada. Our home and nation. Bam.
Shout out Ohio. We see you. We do see you.
We see you. Yeah, left, man.
So we started this thing of getting to know us, and we each week we try and find a different way to allow you to understand each of us a bit more, whether it be our personalities or our music tastes or blah 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 whatever, right? And as this is the hot takes episode, I thought it would be pertinent.
This guy's been watching The Wire. This guy's been watching The Wire season 1.
Bam.
Pertinent information, not pertinent information.
Come on, you know the vibes. I thought it'd be pertinent for us to delve into our bags and find those artists, albums, or songs which many of the people who know us wouldn't necessarily associate with us.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I wanted us to find those album artists or songs which we wouldn't necessarily broadcast that we're listening to, right? So our get to know us segment for this week is guilty pleasures.
Man.
I want you, Kekz, to take us to the most outward corner of your music library, right? That bag that you maybe only listen to in headphones when no one's around. You remember that meme a couple months ago where it was dude in the headphones and everyone was just putting in, I want that, right? That song, that album, that artist that you listen to, that maybe it's not even something you're guilty about, but just something that's so outlandish to you that you are dogged upon that this is your jam, this is your one.
Okay.
Where are you taking the people?
Man. So, do you know what? Like, I want to preference.
Set the scene.
I want to preference this, right?
Get comfy.
Because when we said that we were doing a hot takes episode, Paul.
Yeah.
My first thought, I was thinking, I have a lot of hot takes that people don't agree with.
Yeah.
But then I thought, it's a bit nuts because the person who I'm doing this hot takes episode with agrees with most of the shit that
most of the takes.
like it's tough to have a hot take with someone who thinks the same as you.
Exact same.
So for this one, I had to go deep into it. Deep. Okay. Now earlier this year, or possibly late last year, in fact, there was the Eurovision 2019 or 2020.
Do you remember last year? Think about how long 2020's been.
Barely.
Bro.
I just remember that at some point I was in uni.
Fam. What actually happened I can't say January because I know exactly what happened in January. Rest in peace, Kobe. Yeah. But like, what actually happened in those first weeks of January? World War III.
Yeah.
Like, that was this year.
This year's been long.
Tiger King was this year.
Oh my
I remember some of you were watching that.
Hey.
You were fanning up.
Hey, hands up. You got me.
Said he used to be watching anywhere. Said he used to be watching Spencer Dinwiddie.
I'm finished.
Why did I interrupt you? Why did I interrupt you to do nonsense? Cut.
Yeah, so either late 2019 or early 2020, I can't remember which.
Yeah.
Obviously there was Eurovision. Now, I say the Eurovision is already getting a bit weird because usually those guys have nothing for me. But this one group, I can't tell you where this group is from. I used to think it was Sweden.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember who the guy's name was.
Yeah.
I typed in the Swedish winners or the Swedish artist.
It wasn't them.
It wasn't them. So I don't know where these guys are from. They're from somewhere that, the people aren't typically black. Let's go with that. His name or the group's name is Dio Freya. I could be butchering that. Again, hey, it's not my native tongue.
Do you see what he did there? Butcher, Benny, because we did Butcher and the Blade on track 6. They didn't catch it. I caught it.
Constantly doing science.
Bro, always.
The song is... I was looking at that. Because that wasn't the science I did. For science. The song is called Think About Things by Dio Freya. Man, it's just a bop. Like, it's not one of those, like, it's just a bop.
Yeah.
There's not much more I can say. It's one of those songs that you put on and like, baby,
Mm-hmm.
I just need to, man, it's a bop.
Okay.
There's not much more I can say. What about you, man?
For me,
Mm.
it's an artist, man.
Mm.
It's an artist. Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
Lana Del Rey. Say something. Any of you. I dare. Because a lot of you are going to talk, but not a single one of you wrote video games. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
I can't lie. Like, it's a bit outlandish if you say Lana Del Rey right now. Because she's still my bad books.
No, she went crazy in the summer. I didn't know what she was doing. I was so confused. I was confuddled. I wrote about it on my blog. That's my blog, Clearing Out My Mind. You can find it. You can find it in my link tree. My link tree is at Paul_Olabayo. You can find it in my Instagram bio. What you can also find in my Instagram bio is a link to the Two Stubborn Nigerians Instagram page. That's at @2_stubborn_Nigerians, where you can also find a link to our Anchor page. That's anchor.fm/Two Stubborn Nigerians, which will take you to this podcast, which you're listening to.
That's crazy.
You're here already. You're here already. Wow. See Inception. But no, Lana Del Rey. I've been a fan of Lana Del Rey for a great number of years, actually. It started off when she was on the Great Gatsby soundtrack, back when the Great Gatsby movie came out. And I just think she's a phenomenal writer, and she has great songs which really make you feel emotive. And so I just think, when you're able to write in a way that forces people to get into an emotional bag and really construe your own personal struggles and feelings into a way that's so digestible and relatable and still sounds, to me at least, sonically pleasing. You've got the makings of, I'm a fan. What's my age-old combination? Great vocals, great writing. Compare them, I'm a fan. No matter what genre of music you are, no matter what way you do it. As long as you don't do stupid, outlandish shit like you did this summer, just talking nonsense out of your fucking ass, cuz. Like, who asked you, bro? Like,
no.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No one, just talking
bearing in mind, Ariana just went #1 with a song 34 plus 30, and I haven't heard you say a word. Do you know what I'm saying? But because Doja wants to be there talking, because Megan, like, you want to be talking. But prior to that, it would have definitely, I would have said without hesitation, Lana Del Rey, and that's why I came on this podcast and said the same thing, because the music.
My thing is, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you, but that's why it's a hot take. Well, not hot take, but like, it's a guilty pleasure, and it's not something that everyone will agree with. But what I will say is, when Lana Del Rey, in fact, let me even start that sentence again. When The Weeknd decides, okay, I have a song, and the song's almost a hit, let me call up Lana Del Rey just to give me some backing vocals on this.
Yes, sir.
And the two of them hop on the track together. It's always special. It's always special.
It's always magic, and that's a testament to the artist that she is, in my opinion.
That's
how it go.
Fair enough.
That's how it go.
It's an interesting take. I didn't expect that from you, but I guess I wouldn't.
That's what we're saying. And like I said, it's the guilty pleasures. And this is the hot takes. We're here to get to the shits.
Oh, man.
So take us, where are we going next?
Man. So, Paul.
Yes, sir.
I want to know the album, artist, or song, either one, that you like, that you really like, yeah? However, the public view of that album, artist, song, or whatever isn't the best. People don't like it, don't like them, don't like whatever. I want to know what you like that majority wouldn't agree with you.
After Hours. The Weeknd.
After Hours. I can't. Okay, yeah, carry on.
After Hours, The Weeknd. And now I preface this by saying, by public, I mean my public, the people around me. Because if, for example, we're at the end of the year now, right? We just gave out awards. Everyone's been giving out awards and been giving out their kudos. If you look everywhere at like music-based publications, After Hours is #1. Like Complex had it as their #1 album of the year. XXL had it as the same. It's the highest grossing album of the year, I think. Blinding Lights is The Weeknd's highest grossing song ever. Like, that's more than Earned It. That's more than The Hills. That's more than anything. Like, his #1 song ever is Blinding Lights off After Hours, right? So, like, in the music spectrum of things, other than the Grammys who are being petty, everyone respects the album. But in the social circles that I exist in, it's not necessarily liked. It's not Like some people actively hate it. And I think that's just people going in with the album with a preconceived notion. And here's why I say that. Everyone is in love with Trilogy. Every single person is in love with Trilogy. And there are so many people who look at The Weeknd now and say, oh, he's not giving me Trilogy, so I don't like it. And what they do then is everything becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So they hear Blinding Lights and they hear it be more up-tempo, more upbeat. And then because of that, they forget that Alone Again opens the album. They forget that Escape from LA is there. They forget that Hardest to Love is there. They forget that Scared to Live is there. They forget that all these tracks that you could literally pull them out and put them on one of the Trilogy tapes and they would fit so perfectly and seamlessly. I think After Hours is one of the best albums that's come out this year. I think it's a sensational body of work. I think The Weeknd, his writing was, what it always is. His storytelling is what it always is. He never lets you down on storytelling. Like, never. And he's always able to tell a story. I think the sonics were sensational. Like, to be able to have an album where you've got Heartless and Blinding Lights and Escape from LA, like, packaged together and still be able to tell a story and still have it fit is something special. I feel like this is an album that just gets a bad rap because it's not the exact same as Trilogy. And then people are like, well, then I can't listen to it. It's not drugs. Like, why would he still be on drugs? Like, he's one of the biggest names on the planet. Like, no, he's not still doing House of Balloon shit. Like, that was when he was broke coming up in Montreal. Like, he's now in LA, like, living life with whatever he's doing. Like, that's not going to be the same vibe. That's not going to be the same bag. But if you still want that feel, it's there. You just have to listen to it and allow yourself to be open to listen to it. I feel that too many people came into this album not necessarily wanting to feel that way because they've set themselves a preconceived notion as The Weeknd isn't that guy anymore. When in actuality, there's more than enough evidence on this album that he's still there.
See,
that's me.
See, and here's where it's tough for me because usually I think you're like that take for almost every album after the Trilogy. I would agree with you because that's how people talk about him. Oh, it's not the same Trilogy guy. It's not the same. However, as someone who has liked all of his albums until After Hours, it's tough for me to agree with you on that one, man. It's tough. I don't think that's necessarily it. Because there was something fundamentally different about this album.
Which was what?
I don't know.
Then how can you tell me that? Do you see what I'm saying? What is it? What is it?
No, but that's not fair.
How?
What I'm saying is if it doesn't hit the same way that The Weeknd...
No one's saying about hit. I didn't say a thing about hit. People are saying because it's not the same as Trilogy. But all the elements of Trilogy are exactly
I don't need it to be the same as Trilogy. I was listening to this album expecting amazingness because like, I've loved every single Weeknd album.
Okay.
Like, we've had this conversation. I love Starboy.
Yeah.
And Starboy couldn't be more different from the Trilogy.
Yeah.
I loved My Dear Melancholy, which, okay, fair enough, that was similar to Trilogy. I loved all these other albums in between. But in between Trilogy and After Hours, I love.
Okay.
So we get to After Hours. I don't have any expectations other than, oh, okay, I'm really going to enjoy this album. I wasn't comparing it to anything.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, the music it all blurred together for me. It wasn't other than Blinding Lights and maybe Alone Again, nothing really.
But then
replayability.
But then that's not addressing what I'm saying because now you're just talking about your personal preference on an album, which is fine. Like I can't disagree with your personal preference. I'm talking about people who will say that they don't like this album or The Weeknd's music now because it's not the same as previous years. It's not the same as Trilogy. And I'm saying, one, why would you expect an album to be the same? Like if people are allowed to grow in their lives, like I would actually be deeply concerned if he was still doing House of Balloons, Glass Tables, like over a decade later, like, yo, go get help at this point, right? You know what I'm saying? But also then, like, but you can't say that when the elements of all the elements that you would pick out on Trilogy and say, man, I love this, I love the way he did this, or you can find them all on this album. Your personal preference is your personal preference. I can't disagree with your personal preference. That's, hey man, go crazy. Like, you can disagree. There are millions and one albums that you and I will just have to agree to disagree on because of personal preference. Like, it is what it is. But in terms of saying I don't like this album because of this specific thing, I think people are skunked on that.
Okay.
Like, that's me.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I think every single one of you are skunked on that. I think you should listen to the album again because Escape from LA is right there. Like, the third verse of Escape from LA could literally be pulled off it literally sounds the exact same as Initiation of Trilogy. Like, they're one and the same. They're two peas in the pod.
Fair enough.
But that's just me taking it to where I want to take it on this Hot Takes episode. So how about yourself, sir? Man. What's that album? What's that song? What's that artist that you like, that you love, that most people ain't fucking with you like that? Talk to the people. Where you taking the people, man?
Cool.
Fam.
When we said we'll start the podcast,
yes, sir.
There were a few artists that I said I want to talk about, right? And I'm going to talk about two of them today.
Okay.
In this section right here, I'm going to have to bring up the artist, Chance the Rapper.
Okay.
Now, when Chance the Rapper started early in his career, and he dropped off acid rap for us, everyone I knew, minus you, loved Chance the Rapper. Everyone loved Chance the Rapper. Then he released, what was it, 10 Days of Summer or something like that? Again, people were still big Chance fans, but a lot of people didn't really listen to that project like that. Cool, whatever. He then got into Coloring Book. Oh man, he dropped Coloring Book, third mixtape, went crazy. Everyone loved it. In fact, he got Grammys off of it. People were happy for him. Everyone was excited for him. He then dropped his latest album, and all of a sudden it was sort of like people forgot who Chance the Rapper is because they didn't like the album that much. Now, in all fairness, I think that album wasn't that great. However, there are songs on that album that are still the type of song that made me fall in love with Chance in the first place. They're on that album right there. Like, there's at least 5 songs on that album that could go if the album was packaged better. I think Chance is someone who gets unfairly criticized. Like, Chance can miss once and everyone will go onto his neck. Whereas I know Drake can release Tootsie Slide and everyone's like, okay, cool, it's still Drake. But Chance releases one song celebrating the fact that he's married and everyone wants to get onto him. Like, yo, chill. Like, yeah, he released one dud. That's fine. Bare people have released the dud and come back and release fire. Like, I'm not ready to cut him out the same way that people are ready to act like he was never talented in the first place.
I think you're selectively missing out a huge component of this Chance aspect of this conversation. He's corny. Corny niggas don't get slack like that. It's the exact same. Have you ever see how Twitter women like usually go at like all these niggas love Future but they hate Russell Wilson? And they've come back from a lot of people, especially people who watch the NFL. Is, no, we hate Russell Wilson because he's corny. And he was corny before he got with Sierra, and we remember it. Chance is corny. And it hits. You and I have an artist who we could have come on this. You said you were going to do it as a hot take, but you realized it wouldn't be a hot take in front of me. Logic. But undoubtedly, his first 3 albums are 3 of the best albums of the last decade. Yes or yes?
Yes.
He missed, right? He started missing. But when you miss and you don't have the personality to hold up your misses hit more because now we are going to pile on. You're corny. And Chance is corny. And then he'll go on social media and he'll be corny. He'll come in and say, y'all should vote for who your mothers tell you to vote for. Bearing in mind, Chance has an audience which is very white. And he knows that. He's being corny. Chance was saying, Cole didn't need to go and drop that song if he wanted. He could have spoke to No Name. Well, you didn't need to do that tweet. You could have called Cole and told Cole to speak to corny. You're missing. I think you're really missing that corny aspect. And then one of the slanders one of the critiques of that bad album that I saw from a lot of people who are huge Chance fans is that some of the songs which missed, a lot of the songs which missed because they felt corny.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's necessarily a case of people are saying, I don't know. I'm not going to say from the perspective that I've seen, I haven't seen the people in my socials or my circle say that Chance was never talented. You may have, and so I'm not going to dispute that. But what I have seen is a lot of people say, this nigga just looks corny.
See, but my whole thing with that, because you might be right, he does, yeah, cool. I see where people will be coming from when if they do say he's corny. My thing, though, is that this guy is still the guy who gave us ultralight beams.
That's no doubt. But let me use an analogy. Not an analogy. Let me make a comparison. Meek.
Okay.
when Meek and Drake had their beef,
Uh-huh.
Meek got slandered left, right, and center for any and everything he did.
Mm-hmm.
Not because Meek wasn't talented and couldn't rap, but because the way he handled that situation was corny.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as Meek stopped acting corny
Yeah.
and started just getting back to being a rapper and being normal again, we're back to just being natural, respecting, and all this, that, and that. Do you see what I'm saying? As soon as Chance will get that, you and I, Spilligion album, Chance's verse, Brandy's album, Chance's verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been out here, even me, who like I say, like I don't like Chance the way that so many other people do. When you stop being corny and just let your music speak for you, your music will speak for you, and people. But if the music's bad, and your personality is corny, hey nigga, I got a pylon. I got a pylon, bro.
That's fine, but that's the thing. Like, I'm never against someone getting on someone because they miss. Like, it was one of my friends even not to bring them up again, not to pile up on. But with Nate Robinson.
Hey. Leave Nate alone, cuz. Nate gonna stuff it.
I really don't want to pile onto him, but it's like people were telling me, oh, they didn't like people getting onto Nate Robinson like that, and I said no, it's fine. Like, people getting onto Nate Robinson, it's not that deep because Nate Robinson deserves criticism. What would be deep is to act like, oh, okay, Nate Robinson now is just a complete bum because he missed this one, because he performed badly here, when we know throughout his career he was still that guy who was that underdog player who was doing crazy things that the world hadn't really seen before. I think it's similar with Chance, where it's like, okay, yeah, he's missed this one, and yeah, cool, you might want to get onto him for that album, for releasing bad music. You might want to get onto him for being a bit corny, but yo, let's not act like this guy hasn't given us so many hits before that.
Nah, because it's a what have you done for me lately, League? Because if we hold that metric, I say this to people all the time, if we hold that metric, then nothing that Kanye West has done in the past 2-3 years matters. Because the college dropout is a college dropout, and graduation is graduation, and late registration is late registration. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it is a what have you done for me lately? Like, you sit back and you deep it. You were in first year when Colouring Book came out. So if we're saying that was the last good Chance project, your life has completely flipped, turned, and switched upside down.
Yeah, but we're saying if it's what have you done for me lately, and you just said like his last two verses that came out this year,
but
were both
he would have stopped people from listening to those because he's corny.
Nah,
it's corniness.
Nah,
it's corniness. I think, like, look at it this way. Like the artists we also just talked about, Logic. I think Logic released a very decent album this year. Like, I thought that album was decent on listen to. He is corny. The way he packaged that album is corny. The way he was on Twitch crying, talking about, this is my retirement. I want to thank Cole and Kendrick and Drake for being my inspirations and my peers. That was corny. That was not how Logic was packaging and promoting his album Under Pressure in 2015. That is different. And so you've turned people who may have supported you off just purely by being corny and weird. It's the exact same as that Aubrey nigga, but we won't get into it because I refuse to give him free clout on my podcast.
Man, it's tough, man. Because I see where you're coming from. I do see it. But I just think, I don't know, because we're dealing with it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
The Logic one, so yeah, if that Logic comparison, it makes it tough for me to even argue it, because Logic, yeah, I did.
It's like, you can find the parallels in so many artists, right? Like, Vic Mensa was the same. Like, when his music started to drop off, his personality was also like, he just looked weird and corny. He admitted it on a track like he was, sorry to stereotype, but like he was dressing like a lesbian zombie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and people were just piling on, and they were acting like he wasn't, like, Internet Tape isn't him. Like, Down on My Luck isn't him. Like, You Mad isn't him. But then he drops a V-tape this year. Personality on social media, he goes back to just being like, I wanted to be revolutionary. How about Chicago? The perspective on him changes. It's the same with Logic. It's the flow. And I think you can't really, because no one will disagree with you. Like, I'll say it, like, you know how I feel about Chance. We can go into it, but like, I'll say it hand on heart. That Grammy was deserved. That Colouring Book album is phenomenal. Like the instrumentation, the musicality of it, the sonics, even to the extent like the issue that I have with Chance is that you call yourself a rapper and your lyrics are awful. Like the rapping on the album is great. He was in a bag into like he deserved that Grammy wholeheartedly. Like they should have changed the rules for him. They did. Get your Grammy and deserve it, right? But like this is my thing. Cool, you want to say, oh, it was a mixtape, it wasn't my debut album. Like, why are you celebrating this album? Like, your new album, like it's your first album. Like, no, you package Colouring Book like it was an album. Like, that's the whole point. Like, it's the whole point. Like, you don't need to then say, this is my first out. Like, no, like.
It was debut album. Technically.
Okay. Exactly. Technically,
it was. Like
you don't need, like, yeah, Thug still hasn't released a debut album. And he won't package in his next album like, this is my debut album. Now he'll just say it's a new Young Thug project. Like, you can respect where you are in the game. Like, respect yourself, bro.
Nah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That is part of being corny to me. Those are the little things of being corny. That's how it goes. Like, you know where you are. You've got a Grammy off a mixtape. You don't need to come out and then be saying, yeah, no, this is my debut album. You should all get hyped. Like, we've been listening to you since 2013. Like, no. Like, just give me the project. Just give me the project.
Nah, man. I'm not angry at trying to find a way to get people excited. So I was excited. I was so excited when he said, okay, this is an album. I want to see how it was going to differ from his mixtape.
And it was trash. He should have stuck to it being a mixtape and maybe it would have done better.
Possibly. It was a bad album. But man, as I said, he had some songs on there that I, to this day, I'll still play them because they're just different.
He should. He's a talented nigga. There's no reason why there's literally not a world where he shouldn't have he shouldn't have good hits.
But okay, so this is the thing now, right? Let's say he drops a new album. Let's say he drops an album next year. And let's say that album is his best piece of work. What happens? How do you think that album is met?
It depends on how his personality is. It all depends on how it, like, so much of this is just personality driven. You know what I mean? Like, it's so personality driven. Like, it's about, are you being corny? Like, look at one of the things look at Chance, right? And the political drive that he's on, right? Sort of thing. And then he'll go from talking about we need to get Trump out of office to saying vote Kanye 2020. Isn't that fucking corny? Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? When Kanye was aligning himself with the same things that Trump was saying. So you're saying you need to get Trump out of office, but we're going to get someone who wants to, on paper, based on what Redacted was saying, do the exact same thing. That is weird. That is corny. You can't do that and think that people aren't going to call you out on that. And on top of that, and especially in this world, you have to give me something. So if you're going to be corny on social media and weird, your music better be top tier. If it's not, then I'm going to have to call you out on both. Him in that time, he hadn't released music that was top tier, and now he's just being a weird-ass corny guy on social media talking about, you should vote for who your mama tells you because she always right. Like, what type of stupidity is that? Like, what? Use your platform responsibly, you dumbass. Like, you have white fans. Like, millions of them. In Iowa. Like, what are you talking about? So I think if the music is to the supreme level that he can release music to, and his personality his personality and his persona is not in the gutter, like he can act normal and not have all those corny things about him, I think the project will be received in the right way that it should be. But at the same time, if the music is subpar and you're still being, you know what I'm saying, then, because the converse of that is someone who you and I are spoken about is Meg, where the music isn't always to the best that we think that she can drop. Yeah. But her personality is what it is. What she means is what she means. She stands on what she stands on. People are going to rock with it. And even if there are Meg fans who will say, yeah, no, this song isn't it. This album isn't it. But I'm going to rock with it because I know what she is. I know what she represents. You have to give me one or the other. If you don't give me either, what do you expect me to work with?
It's interesting because, okay, cool. I'm going to take it. We weren't planning on this, but I'm curious to your thoughts on this now. How much do you think this is the same thing that's holding people back from being Wale fans in any way, shape, or form? because I've heard people say the same corny word for Wale, which I've never really agreed with. But I know that people have said it, and now I'm curious if you think that that's what stopped him from reaching the levels of superstardom that his music would warrant.
To an extent, I think the biggest with Wale is just that, like, for whatever reason, people look at Wale and say, he's not Kendrick, he's not Drake, he's not J. Cole, so, like, fuck it. And that's been an issue with him since 2010. And I don't know where that's come from. I've had the corny thing as well, which, again, I don't get, because everything that hip-hop culture is meant to represent, Wale represents it. Like, he's the biggest sneakerhead. He's always at the fashion show. He's like, you know what I mean? Like, he bridges that gap between rap and R&B. He does poetry, like, so there's no real reason for it. Sometimes he has the antics, but again, a lot of them are based on valid reasons. Like, yes, I would be annoyed if like, I made an album and Kendrick made a song in a similar vein to my album, and y'all loved it when Kendrick did it, but for me it was whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be annoyed too. So I don't paint Wale with the same corny brush, but I do think some of the elements apply. Like, I do think some people will find him corny for whatever reason, and it will, like, plague the way that they listen to the music, and it halts, you know, people giving it the true love and appreciation that it really deserves and requires.
Okay.
But we don't need to get into a deep dive here because we have so much more that we need to get to.
We do.
So that was the album, artist, and song that you like, that most people don't. Talk to me about the album, song, or artist that you don't like, that you loathe, that you hate.
Whoa.
That most people love, like, are affectionate towards. Talk to me.
I want to go back. I want to step back for a second.
Okay, step back.
Okay, I don't hate or loathe this artist.
Okay.
I really, really don't. Like, when I first heard them, I was a big, big fan. However, over the last couple years, maybe not, couple years actually, over the last couple years, I don't know, there's something about his music that's become very monotonous to me. All of it is starting to blur together. The artist that I'm talking about is Lil Baby.
Okay.
Now, I say this knowing that Lil Baby is one of the biggest artists in the world right now. He's released an album which a lot of people love. He's done a lot of things, and I don't know, there's just something about it to me. When I play Lil Baby, like, I tried to listen to his album just before we did our
end of the year Two Stubborn Nigerian Awards.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because a lot of people told me that it was one of the better albums of the year, and I just never got around to listening to it. And to me, anyway, it was sort of like, by the time I got to song 10, I sort of felt like, oh, okay, this is just one long, monotonous song. And I got very bored of it. And it's something that I've always had with Lil Baby. Even when he and Gunna dropped that album, that joint album, and the song Drip Too Hard was on it. Yeah, I had my highlights on it. Maybe my two highlights on it. The last two songs on that album, Drip Too Hard and the one with Drake, I loved. But every other song sort of just blended in together. And when it wasn't Gunna and it was Lil Baby, I don't know. Lil Baby is an artist that I feel like on features I like Lil Baby, but I struggle to listen to more than 4 or 5 Lil Baby songs back to back to back. There's something about it that is very. It just becomes too much for me. It becomes a lot.
Do you feel the same way about Gunna?
No.
Why?
I have no idea. It's so weird. Like, there's something about Gunna that, I don't know, his songs sound different to me. Like, I can go from one song to the next without it sounding the complete same. However, in saying that, Gunna is an artist that I would necessarily listen to an album multiple times. I'll listen to it once or twice and then say, yeah, cool, I liked it, and then put it in the archives. But when I do listen to the albums, I don't get bored. I don't feel like, oh, okay, we've done the same song for 30 minutes and I find out, oh no, I'm at the end of the album. I honestly couldn't tell you why it sounds like that to me. It just does. I think it's the way he raps.
In what sense?
Just that style of how can I put it? He has a very distinct style. No one else raps like him.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that, because he raps in that same sort of cadence every single time, if that makes sense. Cadence, is that the word? It's not flow, but it's like that tone of voice.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Every single time. And it just becomes a lot after. When you get 30 minutes into an album and it hasn't changed up once, the only thing that's changed is the beat. And then the flow barely changes.
I can see where you're coming from.
Mm.
I can. I'm not going to sit here and say I can't see where you're coming from. I just wholeheartedly, I disagree, especially with Baby in the 2020 iteration of Lil Baby. I feel like he's able to give you everything in terms of come up stories, luxury stories, money cash hoes, as Hove would say, and then just amalgamate it into his style. Like, he's able to take any subject matter and put it under his wing and go with it. You know what I'm saying? That's how he's able to have a song like The Bigger Picture and a song like We Paid in the same year. And then you have a song like Emotionally Scarred, talking about mental health issues and literally being like emotionally scarred from, you know, all the stuff that he's gone on in his life. I can understand what you're talking about in terms of someone rapping in the same cadence and same flow repeatedly, because it's my issue with The Baby, is the fact that you're talented enough to change your fucking flow. And the fact that you acknowledge they asked me to change the flow up and then you don't do it just tells me that like you're not committed to like actually elevating. But I think the difference between the two is Lil Baby's subject matter is so much more pertinent if you allow yourself to listen to it. Like, that's why I asked if you felt the same way about Gunna, because to me Gunna raps in a very similar flow and cadence all the time. It's a lot softer. It's not as fast paced or heavy as sometimes Baby is, which is maybe easily digestible, especially if you're not paying attention to what they're saying. Right? So it allows stuff to just go by, and you can at least, whereas Baby, you're hearing words but you may not be taking it in. With Gunna, you're hearing melodic melodies and beats, and you're not necessarily taking it in. And I feel like that's a distinction between the two. So like you said Baby there, and for me, like, I'm the opposite. Like, I prefer Baby to Gunna. I always have. And like you've heard me like ingest on this podcast, like, why do I get 2 hours of Gunna? Because it just all amalgamates into one. It blends. I'm like, why am I? Because for me, it's like there's no subject matter here. Whereas with Baby, I get the fact that the cadence is the same, but because I know that the subject matter is different, because he can literally go from Emotionally Scarred to Brand New Car Is Noisy, right around in his store. You know what I mean? And like we and then he can go to we paid, you know, because we paid, even though we don't get paid for this podcast that we be doing. Yo, we should open a Patreon.
Every single week, we come stop for the people.
Fam, we give them jokes. We give them science.
We give them a couple hours of entertainment.
Movies. We take them off this monotonous life that we're all living.
Come man, make you forget about coronavirus for a couple hours.
Fam, Two Stubborn Nigerians Patreon coming soon.
Soon.
Real soon. Real soon. We put you on some businesses. I've seen so many of you go and cop Davis candles on this podcast.
My goodness. Paul.
Patreon coming soon. But because we do need new mics.
I think, honestly, we're trying to elevate. One guest here. Our new mic will be perfect.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you think I'm gonna have Snow here with this mic? Like,
man. She'll laugh at me.
Bro, she'll walk out.
I'll take it back quickly.
Okay.
So you said it's really you don't like The Baby.
Yeah.
I think that's funny that you say that though, because The Baby is, for me anyway, when he released Kirk.
No. You're right. Kirk, and this is what I mean. Kirk was extremely personal. Like, it's his dad on the cover with him, right? Like, it's so he took it to different places. Yeah. But even in that same vein of taking it to different places, Kirk had pops. Like, he still had songs which were just felt the exact same. Okay. On that album, and I'm like, you took it there, and then you reeled it straight back in. It's almost the exact same as Meg. But for me with Meg, like I said on track 10 Two Stubborn Nigerian Awards, I needed her to do on this shot spot. I needed her to do one thing on Good News, I just needed you to call him a bitch, and then I didn't care about where you went. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? But if I was being more objective in my critique, I would have said she went there, she teased me with it. What does Mark Jackson always say after someone has? Don't tease me. You can't tease me. Jamal Murray, don't tease me with it. It needs to be consistent now. You know what I'm saying? And Jamal Murray, don't tease me. Don't tease me.
Honestly. Please, that was great.
That was greatness.
He looked like a superstar.
Like, that was absolute greatness. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
My goodness.
Gosh, it was like Jordan, like spinning and.
Oh my god.
It's the exact same. Don't tease me with it. Show me that you can do it, and then take it back and go back into this shell of what, like this little small bubble. Right? Okay. Do you see what I did there? Jamal Murray stretch bubble.
Come on, man. They're not seeing it.
They're not seeing it
because they don't know that Jamal Murray plays with a stretch in Jokic.
Come on. And they're not seeing it because Meg is tall, so really she'd be a stretch.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We need to get paid for this. This can't be for free. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so I get into that thing, like, don't tease me with it and then take it away. And that would be my critique of the baby.
But if that's what you're saying for the baby, then I'm interested in why you're not saying it for Lil Baby.
Because it's not true of Lil Baby. Especially not anymore. It used to be. That's why I was never a huge Lil Baby fan. Even now, I'm not a huge Lil Baby fan. But that My Time album, when you break down what he's saying on some of the songs, of course he has the hits. Like, We Paid is a hit. Woe is a hit. But Emotionally Scarred is that. Like, and then you get the songs like The Bigger Picture, which came obviously later after the album. Like, the content is so there and it's so real. And the subject matter is so there and so real. I think if you literally went away and just don't even listen to it, just genius like a random song, on that album, you realize this nigga is actually out there saying shit. Like, it's not just Drip Too Hard every song. You know what I'm saying? It's not just Yes Indeed every song.
So what's your quota for saying that an album has to be because like taking it back to the Baby versus Lil Baby now, right? The Baby had, let's go to Kirk for instance, where the first song, like, he literally told you, like, thinking about his grand.
Yeah.
Fact, like, they're very, very personal.
Yeah.
It starts it off personal. And then he gets into more of his, like, okay, I'm still, like, one of the big stars in the world, like, let's have fun type of music. And then he gets personal again, I think, nearer to the end of the album.
Right.
And that was, like, a 10-song album, so 2 of 10. Lil Baby, if I'm not mistaken, had, like, 20 songs on his album or something crazy like that.
Yeah, a lot of songs.
What's your quota to then distinguish someone from, okay, he got personal here, but he also had fun here?
I don't have a quota. I wouldn't be able to say that there's a set, like, number or set amount, right? But what I can say is that when we think of that Kirk album, we don't think of the intro.
I do.
You do. I'm not talking about, I didn't say you. Okay. I said we. People don't think about that intro. That's not the first song they're going to, right? When they're talking about the album, they're probably talking about Toes with Lil Baby or Moneybagg Yo, or they're talking about Pop Star with Kevin Gates, or they're talking about I Needed Some Shit with Some Bap in it, right? Those are the songs that people will go to. Whereas if you were to go to, like, the majority of Baby fans on Twitter of this My Turn album, they're not going to what? And they're not going to We Paid. Even though We Paid is the biggest out song of the year.
What are they going to?
They're going to Emotionally Scarred. Like, have you seen his Colours performance of Emotionally Scarred? No. Go and watch his Colours performance of Emotionally Scarred, and you'll hear Emotionally Scarred in a different way. Like, and it's that. Like, what do we take from it? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, even me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I do it with Meg, and I want to be objective of Meg here, people probably aren't taking away shots fired in the way that I'm taking away shots fired. They're probably taking away Freaky with SZA. Or the track with the City Girls, because shout out JT.
Yada, yada, yada,
yada, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Once again, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're taking those away, which is fine. Like, that's their prerogative. But then I wouldn't be then objectively making the same argument for Meg in the way that I'm doing it for Lil Baby now. Whereas I think if you went to someone who is a Lil Baby fan and asked them, yo, what song off My Turn are you taking away? They're not, like, Woe will be bottom part of the list, even if they loved it, because they'll tell you, he has this, he has this, he has this, and it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, the reason that everyone was on, the reason the Baby, I believe, went on Twitter and said, yo, just give Lil Baby his Grammy now, wasn't because of We Paid. It wasn't because Woe went number one. It was because of the bigger picture. You see what I'm saying? And I think it's just that. Like, what do we take from it? And I don't think the majority of people took the intro of Kirk is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think the majority of people took the intro.
That intro was so...
It was insane. I loved it. I was really like, it made me think that, yo, he's going, and then he went iPhones. And I love Bop.
Yeah, I love Bop, especially music video.
Come on, man. Shout out Jabberwockies.
Come on, man.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Fair enough. Alright, cool. So,
that was a nice healthy discussion, though.
Yeah, that's what this episode is for, you know. Just discussing.
Just discussing.
Brilliant minds having conversations.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, I'm gonna flip it. What's the album, artist, or song that you dislike that most people like?
They're gonna kill me. I want to preface everything I say by saying I like this artist.
Okay.
I do. I like this artist. I want to also preface everything I say by saying I really like, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I desperately wanted to like this album. Even to today, I desperately want to like this album. But it's just never hit.
Okay.
Freudian by Daniel Caesar.
Oh.
It has just never, and I genuinely mean, like, from the bottom of my heart, you've heard me wax lyrical about Daniel Caesar before, like, just off that Brandy feature, like, off that album. I really do like Daniel Caesar as an artist. This is nothing about me just having an issue with Daniel Caesar. This album, which I know 2017, great year for music. So many people loved this album. It was maybe some people's best album of the year, let alone best R&B album of the year. I don't think it could have been anyone's best R&B album of the year because SZA dropped that year. Or maybe some people had it above SZA. I don't know for you.
It was a tight competition that year.
But for me, this album, it just never got going. And like, considering the fact that I had heard the best part with her before on Hers tape, and it was really actually what drove me to seek out this album and listen to it. It just never hit. It amalgamated into one way too much. It didn't hit me in the way that it seemed to hit everyone else. I wasn't really blown away by vocals or songwriting in a sense, which again is weird because there are songs that Daniel Caesar has where I am blown away by the way he uses his voice and the tone and the pitch and the vocals in his music, and then in turn his songwriting, like that Love Again feature with Brandy, like I'll keep bringing it up, is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's sonically beautiful, it's written beautifully, it's performed beautifully, like he does amazing on it. The best part is one of my favorite R&B songs of the past decade. Like I loved it. But even like, you know how we talk about songs will sound different on an album as they do as singles? For whatever reason, it sounds different on this album than it does to me on Hers album. Which I don't understand why, but it's never hit the same in the placement as it is on this album as it does on the placement on Hers album. So like even that loses its weight on this album. Not to take anything away from his performance, because if I listen to it on Hers album, girl, you're the best part. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hitting notes that I didn't even know I could hit for real. You know what I'm saying? Mixtape coming soon. I'm singing on this mixtape too, guys. Like, they didn't even know.
2018.
Bro, fam. Because the way we're mixing the vocals. Oh my goodness. Because the way you blended that with...
Yo. Because they don't even know that this... If I start talking about the
features... If you start talking about the features, so we got 3-time Grammy nominated artists.
I don't know what to tell them.
I don't know what to tell them.
Just be ready.
Just be prepped. Be prepped. Be prepped. Be doing your Googles.
Yo. I think that you are bugging. But that's what this conversation
That's what this conversation is about. That's what we're here to do. That's what we'll break down. We're not supposed to agree.
Yo, alright, cool. So this album, Freudian, 2017, August 25th. I remember I had just gotten a job for the summer. And this album, the first time I heard it, it didn't stop. It was the only album I played that for the rest of the year, basically. Only R&B album I played for the rest of that year. I had it on repeat 24/7. Now, to step back even further, but in also stepping back, I'm also stepping forward.
I see what you're doing there.
Daniel Caesar is another artist who, if we're having that corny conversation, he
corny.
could easily fall into it.
So fucking corny.
Says some crazy things.
Some outlandish shit.
Listen, we're not a gossip podcast.
We're not at all.
Podcast, so we're not going to get into what he said recently.
We're not at all.
And talking about this album, I think this album's unbelievable. Because get you to start off the album.
Bro, listen. Kali Uchis just released an album this year, like maybe in the past month, which is phenomenal. She's one of my favorite artists as well.
Yep.
Sid is featured on this album, and Sid is everyone's favorite artist. Like, there's everything about this album said that I should be in love with this. Like, you're not like people have heard me say this before, and they're like, you of all people should really love this album. I'm like, I agree. I've tried my hardest, and every single time I'm like, bro, why this isn't it? Like, bearing in mind, Daniel Caesar is one of the 3 artists on my go to sleep playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
fam, listen, do you know what it is? Because I remember the first time I even heard this album, it wasn't because I had heard, like you said, I had heard some of the songs before already, and I was already in love with some of the songs. But it wasn't until I got to New Roses where I was like, oh no, like, this is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just the way he has the choir start in, and then he harmonizes himself with the choir for like a minute straight, and then they just come in and start the song like this. I feel like that song really speaks to what the album is, in that it is just beautiful. From song 1 to song 10, it is beautiful. So I'm interested to know why you don't like it. Like, I can't even, because I know the albums that you like, or I know of some of the albums that you like. Which would tell me that you like this album.
Exactly. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think there's a timing aspect to this too, right? And like, I was just thinking this as you said it, like, obviously August 2017. 2017 was a year where like some good R&B came out, but for whatever reason, personally, I wasn't in an R&B. I was stupidly rap heavy in 2017. Like, where I haven't listened to any rap in 2020, like for real. Like, that's why Janae's my number 1 artist. Like, I was stupidly rap heavy in 2017. So, like, for example, like, Kehlani's one of my favorite artists, and she released what most people say is her best album in Sweet Sexy Savage in 2017. And I didn't listen to it until 2018. Like, like, album that came out in January 2017. Great, phenomenal album. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't listen to it until 2018 because for whatever reason, like, other than Control by SZA and maybe a few others, if I really thought about it, I just wasn't in like an R&B centric bag.
Was that the year that thing came out? Or was it 2015? Was that the year Solange dropped her album?
No, she was 2016.
Okay.
She was 2016. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
because I tried to drift it away.
Oh my God.
I tried to put one in the air. Yo, these motherfucking cranes be in the motherfucking sky. There was no reason.
Oh my God.
There was no reason.
Oh my, I was like, don't touch my hair. Oh my God. Let me not get into it.
Let me know, because that all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like, that and Kaleidoscope Dream, we have to pack it away.
Wow. Kaleidoscope Dream is creeping on
every episode, you get closer. Every episode. Because how do you actually just... Why won't she let my love adorn her?
Oh my God. Oh my God. That album is crazy. That album's so good. Well, that album's flawless.
It's not a hot take at all. That's a coldest take.
This is one of the
safest takes. Imagine someone said they didn't like Kaleidoscope Dream.
Oh, that's the hottest take in the world.
Yo. Oh. We have to fight.
Because you're offending me.
Because you're offending me.
Because then you're telling me that I don't know music.
Like, bro.
Because that is as good as music gets.
Bro, music might have peaked.
Get back to it.
Let's go.
I'm just... Do you know what it is? Okay, cool. So you said you're in the hip hop.
I was in a disgustingly hip hop space. Like, it was actually disgusting how hip hop I was in 2017.
Okay.
I'm thinking back to it, I'm disgusted. Like, it didn't make any sense. I was just out there hip hop non-stop. Like, ooh, damn. Like, ooh, big crit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just all over the place hip hop.
There was some great hip hop
in 2017.
So did you ever try and come back to this album later?
Yeah. I've come back to it like at different points, like to try and listen to it. And like I say, like, Daniel Caesar is someone who I like as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, most other times I've heard him, the song's been fire. Like, the album's been good. It's been something that I've really, really enjoyed and like listening to. It's just this one album, which is crazy because if people were to say what's Daniel Caesar's best album, I think most people are pointing to Freudian, right? And it's the seminal one. It's the one that got him on the map. It's the one that got him all the shine. And so I'm just like, there's no reason why I shouldn't like it. But for whatever reason, it's just like, I don't know. But it's always been that way. And like I say, I've gone back and I've tried to listen to this album a bunch of times because I really do try and like it. But it's a block.
That's interesting, and honestly, I'm a bit shocked. I'm a bit shocked. I'm shocked. Have you tried listening to it on like shuffle or something? Maybe you should try listening to it on shuffle. Maybe it's the audio.
But I always feel like listening to songs on albums on shuffle is weird because like it suggests that I know I know better than where the artist was trying to take me. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially when I consider an album that is meant to be like an album and a body of work and not just like a random collection of songs. Like it's essentially saying that I know the art that this artist was trying to create better than the artist himself.
Yeah, no,
which is a weird thing.
I know people who listen to
Bro, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It actually sickens me.
It's crazy to do. It's a crazy thing to do. Every time I use shuffle is if I'm doing all of my songs.
Bro, someone listened to Rick Ross Port of Miami 2 on shuffle the first time they listened to it, and I was nearly. That means Maybach Music could have been the second song you heard. Like, bro, it's other than Active 4, which we don't listen to because we started the album at Turnpike Ike. Like, it's so sectioned in a way that you're supposed to listen to it step by step. Like, there's a reason that Vegas Residency is next to Maybach.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
to be fair though, in saying that, at the same time, the first time I heard Compton, I didn't realize that my phone was on shuffle, and the second song I heard,
that's crazy because they're skits. Oh, you were fucked.
Paul, for whatever, because I literally those first two songs played in order.
Wow.
We thank God because
there's literally skits. Like it doesn't make any sense.
But then, literally, the first song for me was Satisfaction.
That makes no. Oh, so no wonder you're in love with Satisfaction.
Satisfaction, my
to this day.
That song goes flipping dummy. You nuts. I said Satisfaction.
Like, okay.
Nah. But in terms of this album, I would say you should probably try listening to it on shuffle because it sounds to me anyway like it might literally just be
a sequencing thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Because you already said you like Best Part. You like, I don't know, have you heard Take Me Away?
Yeah, I've heard the whole album, yeah.
And you just have blocked to all the songs. Try listening to it on shuffle, see what you think. I'm telling you, that new Roses song is meant for you.
Maybe.
You love that new Roses song, you just don't know you. Like, I'm telling you, nigga.
So yeah, that would be the album for me that I know that so many people love. Sorry guys, but that it's just never connected with me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna take it somewhere else now.
Okay.
Cool. We're gonna flip lanes.
Okay.
So we've spoken about the artists, songs, albums that we've heard that we don't like that most people do like.
Yeah.
Spoken about the ones that we do like that most people don't like. Right. I want us now to pivot and talk about what we think is coming for the upcoming season. Okay. Now, a lot of people, they already have their predictions on what they expect for next year. Yeah. What do you see coming? It can be one thing, it can be multiple things, but what do you see coming that is going to set the tone for next year?
That's a big question because there's a lot of different ways that this could go. That I think will set the tone. Will set the tone. Can I give you two? Yeah. I think we're gonna get a surprise drop. Okay. At some point, I've told you this. I think we're gonna get a surprise drop on Christmas Day this year. But I think at some point early in 2021, we're gonna get a surprise drop, especially if it at any stage looks like there's rumblings, which from my knowledge from people I know, saying that there are rumblings of the music and entertainment industry starting back up again in the Western world, of the US and the UK specifically. We're going to get a surprise drop, in my opinion, from Kung Fu Kenny Na.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, like it will come. That's one. The two is I think we'll get an On the Run Part 3. Jay-Z and Hov. Jay-Z and Hov. Look at me. Jay-Z and Hov. Yeah. That's why every song sounds like me featuring me. That's the beauty of doing a live podcast, man. You never know what's gonna come out. Jay-Z and Beyonce, I think they'll give us a part 3. I was just listening to Everything Is Love by obviously the Carters the other day. Another 2017 album. Yeah.
Was that 2017? It might be.
No, it's 2018. It's 2018. It's 2018. Oh yeah, because the shit on Nas' release.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nah.
Didn't they do that again this year?
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, Hove dropped on Brief. Yeah, Hove Online Brief. Still,
this guy said Ultra Black. Hove said, "Okay, I'm gonna do a music video that's Ultra Black."
Yeah. So as soon as Nas announces that he's dropping, I think Jay-Z and Beyonce will drop another tape.
That's interesting.
Yeah, or a bare minimum, Beyonce will drop a tape. Bare minimum.
I think you're right with Kendrick, because he has to.
He doesn't have to.
No, he has to.
No, he doesn't have to.
No, Paul, he has to.
Kendrick doesn't listen, so he doesn't care about our opinion.
You're not listening. It's not about my opinion.
Yeah.
It's about if it gets to June and I don't have a new Kendrick project, I'm flying out to Compton. Me, by myself.
This nigga will get shot on sight. Because you know he's an idiot, so he'll be a wretch.
Bring this Kendrick nigga to me now.
Do. You'll know those gunshots on Matty. What a fucking joke.
I say it might happen for my album.
And it's crazy because we got an album coming.
Oh man.
They're not doing any of the science.
Yo, that is. I do think Kendrick is gonna drop an album because I don't think he'll let it get to 2022 without us having heard him since Black Panther. If we're counting that as a Kendrick album.
I don't.
I try not to, but at this point I have to keep myself sane. And then what? I don't see us getting On the Run 3. But at the same time I wouldn't be surprised because at this point now they're just sort of both of them are in the zone where they're giving us music for the sake of giving us music.
Whenever they feel. And like I said, like you've been cooped up in the house together for like well over a year. Like they probably don't actually like each other like that. Like they've probably been beefing, so the only way to really keep the marriage harmonious is just go in the studio and let Jay drop some shit.
Nigga wants to get us cancelled so bad. Like we're just getting our foot in.
And it's crazy because I want a Rock Nation deal. Like I want to be on Tidal so bad. I'm gonna take every single one of you niggas over to Tidal.
I had plans for the Rock Nation, but you just threw them away. You just squandered them right there, just like that.
We'll bleep it. But nah, like I think generally, like they've probably just been at home, like, and they're musical people. So I think like I don't think it's outside the realm of reality that they'll just give us a reality check and like come and check the temperature of the room and tell us, you know, what it is.
Especially with quarantine, should I say?
Come on, man.
It's very, very okay. When you put it like that, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Man. If I'm going with my prediction for 2021, Paul...
Talk to the people.
I have a couple.
Talk to the people.
I think there's going to be a few artists who... It's not really their breakout per se.
Okay.
Because you and me sitting here now...
Okay.
Have spoken about both of these artists with nothing but the utmost respect.
Not a single thing but the utmost respect.
One of them even had Grammy nominations. I don't know both of them. I'll be shocked if it's not both of them even.
Talk to me.
But one of them has a Grammy nomination.
Where are we going?
I think Rhapsody is going to give us an album next year that completely stops any conversation of her being outside top 3.
Okay.
Because if she's given us, 2 albums so far in her career?
No,
that I can think of.
2.
It's more than 2.
Yeah, it's more than 2.
Of course it's more than 2, because you just showed me that new song the other day. Well, not that new Rhapsody song to me the other day. But if she drops another album, the quality of the last 2 that's dropped, I don't see how there's even a conversation about her placement anymore.
Okay.
And I don't see a world where she drops an album to a lower quality, especially with the features that she released this year. I think she's only getting better, which is a scary sight to a lot of these niggas.
A lot of these niggas is petrified.
She's gonna stop getting features.
She's petrified.
I'm telling you now, I don't know anyone who wants to hop on to
her that's why all of a sudden Cole heard her drop a couple features. Like, let me get my album out now. So these niggas still think I can rap.
Hey, the next one's called Fall Up. Then beside that, because obviously people know how much I love Rhapsody. And they're not a lot of artists, but I love more than Rhapsody. You've obviously named one in Kendrick. We just briefly mentioned one in J. Cole. Who I also think is dropping next year. I think is gonna dead the whole dropping this year thing. I think too much has happened.
We'll see.
I think he wants to tour on it as well, so I think he'll drop next year. But the artist that, as I said earlier, I have to talk about two artists.
Mm-hmm.
One was Chance.
Mm-hmm.
The second's Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
I think Anderson .Paak is going to drop an album next year, and I think he'll drop early next year.
Okay.
I'm predicting March.
All right.
And I think that album will be so great that it'll probably be my album of the year.
Okay.
I'm saying this without hearing it. I'm saying this without knowing that he's dropping an album. But me knowing who Anderson .Paak is,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how Anderson .Paak has continued to perform on these features, and knowing the last two albums that he just dropped, I have nothing but extremely high expectations for Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
At this point now, if you could not tell, I'm officially in the Anderson .Paak hive.
You've been in the hive for a long time.
I'm a stan.
You've been a stan for a long time.
I'm doubling down.
Isn't it a new thing?
Listen, I'm just here to double down.
Okay.
Like, I'm not. I'm
here to triple down.
This is my guy. Like, I promise you, if Anderson .Paak drops an album next year, then no other album matters. That's how I'm going.
Okay.
Mm.
Doesn't that contradict your Rhapsody take?
No, it doesn't. Rhapsody better be praying. Anderson drop.
Look it up, ain't no
Hey, it's my podcast, and I'm gonna make sense. Make sense of your own damn time, nigga.
All right.
Oh man.
I'm gonna make a prediction for 2021.
Mm.
You're gonna get 2 hours on Don Toliver in this podcast.
Oh man. Oh man.
But they're getting a 2-hour podcast on Don Toliver at some point.
Oh, that's not a prediction. That's a promise.
That's a promise. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
Well done. Congratulations.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
You just got your trailer.
Like Zanny was Sandor, friend. Like, how can I not? You know what I'm saying?
Come on, it's Bindu.
It's Bindu.
We wanted to give it to you on episode 10, but we said no. There's too many artists.
There's too many artists. You gotta respect them. Like,
Don Toliver's getting an episode. Fam, let me tell you now. You might get a 4-hour podcast on Kaleidoscope Dream. We've been teaching it too much.
It's gonna be a 3-part trilogy, like Lord of the Rings.
It might get a podcast episode for each
song. Yeah, we're gonna dissect it. Like, fam, cause bruv, why won't she let my love adorn her?
He's begging. He's like, how many drinks?
How many drinks? Bruv.
Oh my god. Oh my god, songs on the album. Man. Yeah, when we get into that album, people need to understand.
Step by step.
I'm singing.
I'm breaking it down.
Because when we get to Tell Me.
Listen, on the story of Adidon, at the end of it, right? Pusha T said, we're going to peel it back layer by layer, right? That's exactly what I'm doing to that album. Because I have to take you through why it's called Kaleidoscope Dream.
Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? And then he has a song called Kaleidoscope Dream. So I have to take you through why the K is in the position that the K is in. So we really have to take you to the Greek alphabet all the way. Listen, it's going to be a long time. Get your popcorn ready now.
Yeah, let me tell you from now. Like, usually when it comes to these episodes, I might make the occasional note here and there.
Yeah.
That episode,
I'm coming with a dissertation.
I'm coming in with a briefcase.
Yeah, in fact, there's going to be a PowerPoint that accompanies that podcast. Like, we'll send out the slides to you in advance. We'll put it up on Moodle, or we'll put it up on Blackboard. Like, it'll be out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness,
fam,
man, hey, that was the Hot Ones episode.
That was the Hot Ones episode. Oh man. We need to play them out with something.
We need to.
Yeah, let's play some Chance. This is Chance the Rapper, Finish Line, featuring Teddy Pender,
come on,
Kirk Franklin,
yes sir,
Aaron Allen,
yes sir,
and the artist with no name.
Man. It is as R&B as R&B gets. It is when people mistakenly say that R&B is dying. I think that they don't really mean R&B is dying, because R&B, me and you said here, R&B's had a great year. I think what they really mean to say is that the R&B that we got from back in the day is sort of dying out. We don't get a lot of artists that get into that sort of classic R&B feel.
Niggas aren't crooning no more.
At all. Like niggas don't really love women
Like,
anymore.
bro, it's crazy.
It's
Like
just
niggas don't be in the video topless talking about how does it feel.
Fam, I haven't seen a nigga dance in the rain.
Bro, not one time. Like 6 Lack has never just gone out in the rain and started dancing.
Yeah. Like I wanna, beg,
I've never seen Bryson Tiller actually look heartbroken in a video.
Bro, niggas. We've said it so many times at this point. Niggas were begging, don't leave me.
Don't leave me.
If you leave me, I'm gonna go insane.
Like,
fam, at this point now,
like
Pioneer Store is like, okay.
Don't hold your like, why don't you come and see me? That's not the same.
It's not the same at all.
Tyrese was in there saying, "Have I told you lately that I love you?" While the whole song, he's telling her that I love you. What's the right? Just talk to the people.
Yeah. Go download this album. I feel like it really taps into that sort of classic R&B sound of just really that sort of love music, that romantic sort of music that we haven't gotten in a while. That shows the more vulnerable side of R&B. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And this is me saying this coming off the Kid Cudi album, which I was super excited for. It made me pause the Kid Cudi album and download this and listen to this, which, if you're listening at home, should tell you that what I think of this album. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Blxst, No Love Lost. Paul, what's your recommendation for the week?
Man, it's just rap shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just rap shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you an album by the rapper 38 Spesh. The album is called 1995. 1995 comes in at 10 songs, 15 minutes, 59 seconds. Kekz, ask me why the album is titled 1995.
Why is the album titled 1995?
Because for the 10 songs and the 15 minutes and 59 seconds, 38 Spesh is rapping over beats, all from the year 1995.
Okay, I need to listen to this immediately.
All from the year 1995. And 38 Spesh he's got a huge back catalogue. In recent years, I mean, he came to my attention through the Griselda camp, through hearing him on tracks with Benny the Butcher, Westside Gun, The Family, BSF Gang, you know, GSFR, like The Family, that's what we're a part of. We're the Buffalo Kids, if you didn't know. Guardians of Griselda, that's us, that's me, I am him, I'm niggas. Like, so 38 Spesh is right out of that same lineage of just the beat is gonna drop and I'm just gonna give you straight bars non-stop. And that's what you get over some of the most classic, memorable beats and samples from the year 1995. And if you know about us, man, since 1993, we've been...
If I'm lying, I'm dying here,
yeah.
Paul. What album that
you literally just downloaded it. Like, as I'm speaking, I feel like you should do. If you're in any way, shape, or fan of just rap, go listen to that. It's literally just 16 minutes of your time, and you'll be clamoring for more. And then he's got a huge back catalogue, so you can go and find that more. That's my recommendation. 38 Spesh, 1995.
And just like that,
track 12 is in the books.
Man,
we got a 12th man.
So all of a sudden, people are looking forward to episode 13.
It's crazy.
Can you guys rest? Give us some
break.
Damn. Let us rest. We've been doing this for 12 weeks straight.
We've been doing this for 12 weeks straight.
Jesus.
Non-stop. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Come on, man. I need more.
Gonna get more shots up in the gym.
Come on, man.
Great show, man.
Hey.
I had some great takes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Had some great takes. Had some bad takes. Had some takes that I will never forgive. But, you know, it's all lovable.
It's all fair and lovable, man. It's all fair and lovable. It's for entertainment purposes. You know what I'm saying? We here.
Yes, sir.
For y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
That's all it is.
We're here for the people.
Fam. You're taking us home.
I'm taking us home today, man.
What you got for the people?
The one that I have for the people today, Paul.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy this week, Paul.
Why so?
Because I had something completely different. Completely different. But because of what you played at the start,
yeah,
I had to flip it, remix it, cut it up.
Yes, sir.
Go this direction. So I feel like I've landed somewhere special.
Okay.
I feel like people at home are gonna really bop to this.
Okay.
And it's not bop because
I see it now. That's up.
But nah, yeah. So I'm gonna play this.
Yeah.
We're gonna head out.
We're gonna head all the way out
because it's home time.
It's home time.
We're going to the stage.
What?
And all in the meantime, what you guys are gonna do at home,
what are you gonna do at home,
other than listen to this jam that I'm about to put on, is you guys are gonna remember that Nigeria,
yes sir,
never
carries
loss.